Laurence, how do we reclaim the UK?
Wow, let's go in easy, shall we?
No lube.
How do we reclaim the UK? Well, you've got to. I suppose you've got to. The UK is kind of lost at the moment, so we've got to start at the beginning, which is education. I would say, stop teaching kids about skin colour privilege, critical race theory, gender ideology, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Start early in
What's
school.
Wrong with those?
What's wrong with what?
Yeah, those stop. Did you say stop or start teaching?
Stop
those?
teaching them.
So what's wrong with those things?
Well, you don't. Kids don't notice skin colour and race. They're not interested in it. No. My kids' mates are multi-ethnic, and they don't ever talk about race until they're taught about it, and then they start talking about it. So I don't think that's good. Dividing people up into groups based on skin colour. Martin Luther King had some good things to say about that, didn't he? Then we've got gender ideology, which is not good because, again, kids are just not ready to deal with the whole idea of you may be a boy or a girl. It's hard enough being a kid without going, you know, you can be a girl or you can be a boy. I don't think it's a good idea to teach kids. There are other things that kids could learn that would help them. So, you know, in the end of the day, you know, look, we had the Roald Dahl thing, didn't we, yesterday, where you got the sensitivity readers, or the day before, sensitivity readers taking out bits of books. But Roald Dahl wrote those books in order to give kids wicked imaginations. And wicked imaginations are important in children because they make great individuals. And we want individuals to stop this sort of mega groupthink that we've got in the UK at the moment, so that it's, you know, they're able to reclaim it for us, because at the end of the day, us lot are in trouble.
How are we in trouble? What's wrong with the UK?
Well, it feels very divided to me. You know, I'm a sort of classic example of someone who didn't have the orthodox acceptable view in show business, so therefore I had to be removed from show business. That's, you know, in a sort of Chinese style suppression of free speech. So I don't think that's a good idea. I think we polled half the country are frightened to open their mouths. Democracy doesn't flourish without free speech. We've got a major free speech problem in our country. We hate ourselves. We're inward looking. You know, there are genuine threats around the world, certainly from places like China and that, and we're sat there rewriting Roald Dahl books. Our society is it feels a bit end of daisy to me. Wokery feels like the affluence that we've all been afforded in this country. You know, I was listening to an interview with a North Korean defector the other day, and she was saying that what they teach in American universities is very similar to what they teach in North Korean universities. You know, we don't need to teach this sort of collectivism groupthink that we've got nowadays, and this permanent offence when we live in such affluence.
I've been thinking about this a lot, because I think this is the worst I've seen the UK since I've been alive. I'm 44 years old.
Happy days, me too.
Yeah. Do you think we've had it too easy too long? You know, they say good times make weak people.
Yeah, good times.
I mean, imagine we were in World War III. No one would care about gender.
We are in World War III.
You think we are? All right, well, let's go there then.
Aren't we? I mean, as far as I can tell, we are. He's not.
How are we in World War III? Because
we're saber-rattling against Vladimir Putin with we're offering weapons, munitions and stuff like that into someone who's not part of NATO. I think we are I think Vladimir Putin's a really nasty bloke, and I'm really happy to see the end of him, but I don't understand why America is saber-rattling and Britain is saber-rattling with a guy with loads of nuclear weapons.
Well, when you say you don't understand why, have a guess as to why you think we are.
Well, I can't go down all the conspiracy theory rabbit holes, because I think it is quite simply he wants to expand the Russian Empire and he sees Ukraine as part of it. And I think that we feel obligated as part of our historical desire to defend people's borders to do that for them. I'm just not convinced this is the fight you want to pick with them.
Wow. So we're in World War III?
Well, we're certainly in a Cold War, aren't we? Again, I would say that at the moment, and it's in danger of becoming a hot war, especially if we start sending over tanks and jets and things like that. I mean, how long is it before you start putting feet on the ground?
Yeah.
If there's an atrocity somewhere.
And I was upset about getting demonetised on a couple of YouTube videos this morning.
Oh, I know.
And now you're telling us, yeah.
Well, I sort of look at it and I go, we are if we're not in it, we're on our way towards it, if we're not really, really careful.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like it's the closest we've been to World War III that I've been alive. I mean, at one point I thought maybe Trump's going to cause it. And
he was elite, but Trump understood deterrence. So he was invaluable in that concept. He knew the difference between deterrence and weakness. And
how can you explain that?
Well, deterrence is going. He was unpredictable, wasn't he? So with Kim Jong-un, he started calling him Little Rocket Man and saying, "My rocket's bigger than yours." Like, if I was Kim Jong-un, I'd be sat there going, "Who is this nutcase?" And I would have thought maybe he's good to his word. I would have been frightened of Trump, you see, if I was the North Koreans. I wouldn't be frightened of Joe Biden at all. He's got no deterrence. He's far too busy talking about racist highways and, gender-affirming care for chopping off kids' genitals. It's like, no, mate. And he's on his way. He's in Ukraine yesterday. Is he in East Palestine? Has he been yet to turn up to watch the biggest natural disaster, going on about all the climate all the time, going and helping out all of those 80% Trump voting people poor Americans who live in East Palestine? No, he's not. He's saber-rattling.
So how did we get here then? How did the UK get here?
Well, we don't have a cultural border force, do we? So what you need is you need some way of stopping bad cultural ideas coming into the country, and we just haven't managed to do it. But I think your hard times create strong men thing is valuable. We've been affluent.
It's been too easy, hasn't it? I think our low interest rates have been for so long, so there's free money. We've had fairly good times. We've never had to really fight.
Yeah, but then what happens when you have low interest rates and you print a load of money?
Well, yeah.
Then you start
money becomes worth less.
Then you start raising interest rates.
Yeah.
Then what do? You're killing everybody.
Yeah.
And also we're celebrating virtue and false virtue ahead of real courage. You know what I mean? Sadiq Khan is going, "I'll give you all the kids can have a free dinner," but he's charging everybody else a ton of money, taxation in the name of salvation, for stuff like ULEZ. So everyone's like, "Oh, brilliant, Sadiq, you're so thoughtful and caring for the kids." But what he doesn't do is go to the millions of families that he's just made it impossible, when they've got no money anyway, to travel around, even get their kids to school in a lot of cases, without spending the load of money that ULEZ is.
So is this because we have a out of date at best or corrupt at worst political system?
Yeah, we don't have a political system because every party is the same.
Yeah.
Aren't they? Essentially. So you've got...
Yeah, people talk about capitalism and they criticise capitalists. Where is a capitalist system? I don't see one.
No, well, look, where's the oppositional adversarial political system? Even if Labour disagreed with lockdown, Labour totally agreed with lockdowns and all the madness that went around that mass formation, they should have objected. That's the point of the opposition. It wasn't a time of war, it was a nasty bug. Someone somewhere should have been in opposition to that. So we've got Tories who are a high tax, low growth party, who can't control immigration, which is essentially what their sort of job is, and to conserve and preserve our culture. That's their job, isn't it? That's what it says on the tin with Conservatives. They don't do that anymore. No. They're into net zero. They're not into building local businesses. They're not into, they call it levelling up. That to me sounds like socialism, dragging down, rather than going levelling up. And then you've got Labour, who actually now have jumped slightly right of the Tories. So they're just slightly less socialist than the Tories. I'm starting to think Labour are a lot more impressive than the Tories, and that's a worry.
Yeah, I always used to be scared of Labour being into power, thinking that they were going to ruin it for businesses and entrepreneurs, and the taxes would be penal, but I don't know that they can get any more penal.
It's evil, isn't it? It's and where is the system is broken. Look, we've been in existence. The Reclaim Party has been in existence since God knows when. When did it start? 3 years ago, 2 years ago? For that period of time, we have been trying to get a bank account that people can donate to, so we can have membership, so we can grow. We can't get it.
You can't get a bank account?
We're just about to get a bank account. Fingers crossed. But
why do you think that
But
is?
we reckon they'll do us at the last minute because they don't want little parties. They don't want insurgent parties because they know that there's a big groundswell of people. I was in Oxford on the weekend protesting against LTNs and 15-minute cities and stuff like this. And there was 7,000 people there. So there's a huge constituency for people that just want to do some common sense stuff and aren't interested in power and control over other people, which is what we're in at the moment.
This was just a short excerpt from a long, deep and fascinating discussion with Laurence Fox. Go down the rabbit hole with me right there. So if, like us, you want honesty, balance, integrity in media, fight back. Like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on. And remember, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything.